Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you at the start of this new day, giving thanks for life, for health, and the opportunity to serve through this station. We ask for your divine presence to guide us in all we do. Bless this broadcast, that it may be a source of inspiration, joy, and unity to all who tune in. Whether near or far, may our words uplift, our music heal, and our message bring light to those who need it most. We pray for our listeners, wherever they may be. Grant them strength for the day ahead, peace in their hearts, and success in all they put their hands to. Cover those traveling with your protection, and those at home with your comfort and provision. Lord, may everything we do bring honor to you and be a blessing to others. Guide our steps, bless our efforts, and let this station be a vessel of positivity and hope. In your name we pray. Amen.
Your voice, your soundtrack, your station. New Era TT Radio. Net Radio.
I was feeling ill when I get the house call from Dr. Cassandra. Why she gave me pain, now my whole body feeling better than ever. She gave me one injection in my midsection, I didn't have to pay. Then she gave me something and tell me swallow fever gone right away. One injection in my midsection, I didn't have to pay. Then she gave me something and tell me swallow fever gone right away. When you're coming back, Santa, when you're coming to give me a medicine.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I'm come here to make you better.
When you're coming back, Santa, when you're coming to give me a medicine.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I'm come here to make you better.
And she
I'm your doctor. I'm your doctor.
She took my hair, she took my day, she took my hair, she took my day, she took.
I'm your doctor. I'm your
I said,
doctor.
doctor, please come back quick because I can't bear it no longer.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I've come here to make you
Only
better.
you could ease our palpitating and cool down the pressure.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I've come here to make you
She say
better.
how you expect to feel better when you in surgery. I got two mind to stop the treatment, give you a year in your body. You, when you're coming back, Santa, when you're coming to give me a medicine.
Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I've come here to make you better. Be quiet, boy, I'm your doctor. I've come here to make you better.
Wake up, rise up. It's the Net Radio Breakfast Show, bringing you the energy, music, and vibes to start Start your day right.
And with that, we say a very special good morning to you, everybody, wherever you may be, tuning in, turning on, logging on. We are happy to be here with you in the land of the living, giving God thanks and praises for another day and bringing us together inside of this day. All that we do, dear God, let it be a blessing on to you. Trinidad and Tobago, good morning. Neighbors in the Caribbean, good morning. Friends who are streaming all around the globe, good day to you. And of course, thank you so much for making us your choice. I'm your truly, Sir Charles. Happy am I to be here with you. And of course, on this beautiful Thursday morning, yes, this is the Get Up and Go. Everybody, welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on. From Maracas Bay to the Savannah line, let's start the day in Caribbean prime. Oh, good vibes rolling through the air. The breakfast show energy everywhere. We talk, we laugh, we make you think. Grab your doubles or your morning drink.
Good morning, and welcome to the breakfast show this morning. Of course, I was a little scrambling there. I was getting my coffee, so I was a little late to the seat. But
You mean you were just being Richard?
I'm
That's
getting
okay.
my coffee. I don't even know if you see me smoke. But anyway, so good morning to our listeners and viewers wherever you are across the planet, and of course in Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, we are coming to you live out of Trinidad and Tobago. So good morning to you all. Thanks for choosing us. We know you have choices, and we're glad you chose us. And of course, a special good morning to my co-hosts Wendell and Sir Charles.
Yeah, well, good morning to you guys, you wonderful guys. Glad to be here with you. And a beautiful morning.
Yeah, morning, Sir Charles, morning, Richard, morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and good morning, listeners and viewers all over the globe. It's an absolutely beautiful Thursday morning, and let me get my birthday greetings out of the way at one time. Lauren Justice, happy birthday. She's from Tunapuna. Bruce Kion from Arima, that guy who does all those sign paintings.
Hey.
Yeah, Avian, you remember?
Yeah, of course, I know him well. Once he in music and DJ and party and fete, it wasn't a Bruce.
Yeah, he does some excellent hands.
Sign man.
Yeah. Rian Samaru, Sobian, Wendy Pierre, Dexter Rodriguez, Roger Toppin, Keston Pollard, Blossom Tambi, and of course our very own Kathy Ann Charles, who I'm sure is on the chat already. She is celebrating her birthday today, October 16th. Karen Ali, a good friend of mine, used to live in St. James. I don't know where she lives now, but she's also celebrating her birthday today. And anybody else celebrating birthdays today, October 16th, have an absolutely fantastic day. All right?
I have one birthday greeting, and that is Philippa Hospitalis. She's celebrating her birthday today, so we want to wish her all the best also.
All right. Great. And thank you for all the birthday greetings that I received yesterday. I didn't even realize it was hundreds of birthday greetings I got yesterday. I haven't had a chance to respond to any as yet. Well, the ones on the Facebook, that is. I responded to those on my phone. But thank you very much. It was an absolutely wonderful day spent. Thank you.
All right, great. So I suppose we could get straight into good news, because we always know good news. But before we get into good news, of course, we have a guest today. So you can look forward to that. In the next hour, we'll be speaking to the Minister of Finance himself, Minister Davendranath Tancoo, MD and Minister of Finance. He will join us in the next hour. And of course, we'll touch on some of the topics, the main issues coming out of the budget. I'm not sure how much time he'll have with us, but we'll see how much we can get in while we speak with him. And of course, you can look forward to that.
Yes, an exclusive interview with the Minister of Finance in the next hour. Do not miss it. All right.
So let's get into our good news.
What? Oh, you all think smoking kills? Let me tell you something. Do you know that the amount of people dying from diabetes are 3 times as many people dying from smoking? Yet if I pulled a Snicker bar, nobody would say anything. Do you know that the leading cause of lung cancer is not actually a cigarette? It's your DNA. You could smoke for years and nothing will ever happen to you. This whole war against smoking is just to restrict the farming of tobacco. Mr. Council Chair, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I use these arguments, even though I just made them up, with a group of my friends. And the results, 5 of them believed what I said. 2 of them started smoking. Words, when said and articulated in the right way, can change someone's mind. They can alter someone's belief. You have the power to bring someone from the slums of life and make a successful person out of them. Or destroy someone's happiness using only your words. Does that seem a bit too good to be true? A simple choice of word can make a difference between someone accepting or denying your message. You can have a very beautiful thing to say, but say it in the wrong words and phew, it's gone. I have a son who's 4. And he had this bad habit of writing on the walls with crayons. And one evening I walked into his room and he's going at it, just writing and drawing and so on. And I said, hey. Are you stupid? Don't you ever do that again. And guess what happened? He did it again. Nobody likes to be threatened. Nobody likes to be intimidated. His pride would not allow it. He did it again just to spite me. A week later, I walked into his room and again, he's going at it. And this time, he was even looking at me just... I came down and I said, sweetie, come here. Don't do that, you're a big boy now. And he never did it again. Because his pride wants him to be the big boy. Have you ever wondered why nobody cares about global warming, even though it's a very serious issue? It could kill all of us. Because when you go home and you flip on the TV and you see a scientist trying to talk about global warming, it goes something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from the graphs here, the statistics for 2014, it shows the water level is rising. This table shows that the monodioxide level on the 3rd ozone layer is in a very alarming position. The message never get across. But most importantly, if you are a person who's a role model, if you're a person who's been admired, anything you say could be believed. Anything you utter could be taken as truth. My friend Nasser, he loved his father, idealized his father. He would do anything to make him happy. But his father was the kind of person who's not easy to impress. And year after year, Nasser tried, and his father was like, yeah. First year in college, Nasser got straight A's. And he thought to himself, this is it. This what will finally make my dad proud. He picked up the phone. He called his dad. Dad, I got straight A's. Are you proud? Please tell me you're proud, Father. Yeah, listen, son, I'll have to call you back. I'm busy. I'm busy was the single sentence that broke the camel's back. And he started drinking, doing drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Nasser, why? Why are you throwing your life away? If the one person in the world that I care about the most doesn't care, then why should I? And one evening I got the phone call. Nasser's in the emergency room, drug overdose. I rushed to that hospital. I saw him on that bed, and I saw that machine go beep, beep, beep. And I saw doctors try to bring him back to life. Clear! 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 It's clear that a single word could have saved this life. Words have power. Words are power. Words could be your power. You can change a life, inspire a nation, and make this world a beautiful place. Isn't that what we all wanted? Isn't that why we are all in this hall? Your mouth can spit venom, or it can mend a broken soul. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be our goal.
So, of course, that was our good news for today. Of course, Wendell sent that one in, and he thought it was very inspirational, and I thought so too.
Yeah, your mouth can spit venom, and it can mend a broken soul. That thing brought me to tears yesterday because, I mean, I've been guilty. You know, I've been guilty of using words that hurt people, and I've been but I've also had the pleasure of using words that healed and helped people. And I think we all, which is what we try to inspire on this program, just say something kind, just be kind to someone, you know, say something nice to someone. And 99% I think of our followers do exactly that, you know. So I thought that it would make an excellent piece. You look back at it, keep it as part of your archives, you know what I mean? And use it, practice it, you know. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Richard.
Excellent. Yeah, I really loved the piece when I saw it also, you know. I actually shared it a couple of times with some people, you know, because I think it's very important, because we have a lot of people who, excuse me, who just go about and will say things that they know that will hurt people, and some of them have no problem in doing it.
Yeah. It rolls off their tongue so easily, which is social media. We've been talking about it every morning here. The kind of hatred you see on social media, you know what I mean? The kind of vitriol you see.
Yeah, the kind of unkindness.
Yeah.
Everything is a joke, and who can be the most bitter and vitriolic somehow wins a badge. To say the most, you know, degrading things about other human beings. It's fine, because they're different in some way. They're an immigrant. They or or they get blown up in the boat, like how. But that's an issue now because two
Yes.
Trinidadians were apparently in a boat.
Yeah.
And of course, you will have comments of people saying, well, what are they doing in that boat? It's good for them. Or you'll have people saying things like that.
Yeah.
And so the loss of human life and the human beings and their existence on the planet is always judged by other people. And sometimes that judgment comes from people who claim to be religious.
Yep.
And a lot of it is that. And they can be hurtful and degrading, and it's fashionable almost.
Yeah.
In some circles.
Yeah, and it's so easy to be kind. It's just so easy. I tell people, if you have nothing good to say, then say nothing.
For some people, it's not that easy to be kind in Rwanda. I've come to that conclusion. For some people, it's easier to be nasty.
Yeah, I think some people actually feel good by being that kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, liking to always like it does something to their ego.
I think
when they hurt people.
Yeah, being kind takes an effort, eh?
Yeah.
To put yourself in somebody else's shoes, it takes an effort, eh? Especially if you're different to that person, you don't know that person's existence. You may not be, living in Palestine or Gaza or in Israel or whatever point of view you have an issues. It's easy to be unkind, and we take sides. We take sides very easily according to our worldview. And you criticize the other side. You see the other side sometimes as an enemy, or you see the other side as being less than. Look at what's taking place with the whole ICE raids in the United States. Whoever thought the United States would become such a dark, gloomy place? So much of the rest of the world, it has become a dark, gloomy place.
Yeah.
And they look on kind of in astonishment. Whoever thought the United States of America would become that? And authoritarian-like, and you can see all the symptoms. Because we've seen it before. You've seen it in places like Turkey, even India under Modi had some of those issues, especially against the free press. And you had the free press, you have a lot of the major free press, including Fox and including Newsmax, which are very right-wing and under Trump. One of them walking out of the Pentagon yesterday.
Yeah, they issued a joint statement.
They gave up all of their credentials and walked out of the Pentagon yesterday. Because the Pentagon under Pete Hegseth wanted them to sign certain, restrictions that it could be restricted in what they report, and that's one of the first signs of authoritarian regimes. How do you clamp down on the free press?
Yeah,
The ability to say and talk like how we talk in the morning here on this program, and how we criticize and sometimes praise. But the unfetteredness in which we speak, you can't take that for granted. In some countries, you can't do that.
Yes.
So don't take it for granted. And your ability to watch and listen to it, don't take it for granted. It's something you have to be vigilant about and protect. And so kudos to, a lot of the press agencies in the United States, and not only them, international press, the International Press Corps too, for taking a stand and saying, no, that's not what democracies are about. But, let's get into greeting the people in our stream. So, Wendell, are you ready?
Yes, let's do that. Valerie Mendoza, Anthony Tinto, Felix Cazo, Brennan Smith, Suzanne Jessup, Suzanne Suzette, and Mrs. Gemma, Eunice Dublin, Ava Smith, is also saying good morning. Margaret Thomas, Robert Taylor, fixed his name apparently.
Good morning, Robert.
Melissa Nelson from Shafle, Marlon Motley from North.
Good morning, Marlon.
Erica Charles, Josie Richardson, Rodel Guy from Sangre Grande, Boy Bidesi from Debe, Michael Cadet, Trini, that's out there in Nashville. That might be Kurt Hope, actually, because he normally messages from Nashville. Julia, Samantha, Diane Payne, Slick Money Grip, Carol Guevara, Kathy Ann Charles, who's celebrating her birthday today. She also sends a special morning to Arlene out there in Bronxville, Texas. Ozzy Molino, Hilary Zan, Sherwin and Juliet Kerr, Lambert Bruce, Manuela Peters, Shirma Paul, Ingrid from Tucson, Arizona, Florence Bazi, Debbie Modeste, Joyce Phillip, Ambrose Bly in New York, James Kamau, Mo Gaines, Kathy and Charles is saying thank you, Lyndon, Kate George, who is Kenny in Harlem, Gavin Frank from Powder Magazine, Wendy and Frank James, Wayne Ramsey in Fort Lauderdale, Evans Batiste says, I would like you guys to wish his wife a happy birthday. Her name is Julia Batiste. All right, so happy birthday, Julia Batiste.
Happy birthday, Julia.
Is that someone also in the chat? I think so. Wendy Ann James also says, please extend birthday greetings to her sister, Patricia Bisoon in Aruka. And it's coming from her family and herself and Glenda in New Jersey. All right. So happy
birthday, Patricia Bassoon.
Right. Rena Buru Jennings out there in Pity Valley. Donna Ramlo Chan. David McCarthy says top of the day. Apollinaris says good morning. Sankofa also says good morning. Bernadette Yates, Bernadette and Melissa Yates, Mrs. R, Dean Allen. Send that to every politician. Send that to everybody, period. Mo Gaines, Victor Phillips, Kazim Mohammed says, this is not good news, it's great news. I agree, Kazim. Beauty Culture, Donna Ramlochan, Florence Bazi says, the Bible says the tongue is full of deadly poison. A proverb says, your words are like a fire, it spreads all over and it does a lot of damage.
Yes.
Yeah. Beauty Culture.
You relate to that, Sir Charles? Boy,
Amen.
Florence Bazi, a preach girl. Beauty Culture said, Wendell, that's one of my mantra. Better to zip it. Yep. Richard, people must follow rules or else anarchy will set in. Stephen Harper says, morning all. Diane Payne, my condolences to their family. That's the family of the fishermen, of course, who were blown up in a boat yesterday. Hi guys, to change that is holding people accountable. That's why when Wendell calls people on the chat for their words is part of the vigilance. Thank you, Dean. Beauty Culture says, true, Richard, we take our freedom of speech for granted. Say what we want, when we want, how we want. Trini said, yep, that's neat. Anthony Atwell, greetings. Estelita Sampson says, good morning. Subash in Woodland. Hi, Subash. Long time no hear from. Melchizedek. Ron DeSantis Jr. says, America is and never was a democracy. It's a representative of a republic. Prabha Ramdial says, good morning. And Melchizedek says, the power of life and death is in the tongue.
In the tongue. Mm-hmm. I got all the waxing biblical this morning.
Preaching.
Yeah.
That gave you some energy, Sir Charles.
That energized me.
Energized. Yeah.
Wendell, that is it for you?
Yeah, that's it for me.
All right. So let me say good afternoon to Fifi in Addis Ababa, probably having lunch around this time. Shamin in New York, good morning. Carlin, who is heading to the gym this morning. Hey, excellent, Carlin. Mahi out there in Columbus, Ohio. Terry Ann Peters in Mova. Kent in Laventille. Mr. Billy in the Powder Magazine. Mr. Beeps, who is down there in Pity Valley, good day to you. Joyce Phillips, good day. Also to Margaret Thomas, good day. Captain Ron in Orlando. Miss Sampson, good day to you. And Brenda out there in Penal. Those are all the people that are locking in this morning. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful day. Good morning to the Kyle family and wherever else you are picking us up. Thank you so much.
All right, two other people, Joanne Cyrus and Colted Finch, has joined the chat, and we say a special good morning. Don't forget, we have an exclusive interview with the Minister of Finance, Davendranath Tancoo, MP, after our 7 o'clock news break. All right, we don't know how long we will have him for, but we're going to try to get in as much information from him as possible, and we want to thank him in advance for gracing us with an exclusive interview. All right.
All right, and this is where we take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Pay $1 down on higher purchase plans at Furniture Plus. Enjoy fast approval, low interest rates, and up to 36 months financing. Retirees, self-employed, and permanent employees apply today. Buy now, pay later with Furniture Plus credit plans. Conditions apply.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop. Located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davantry tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
The public is demanding it, so the laughter continues. Your Dolly Fowl to Watch Corn is now at Central Bank Auditorium for 2 nights only. Saturday, October 25th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 26th at 6:30 p.m. Don't miss the play that some say is the funniest of all time. Tickets available now online and at the usual outlets. And from Monday, October 20th, 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily at the Central Bank box office. Your Dolly Fowl to Watch Corn has been matching up audiences.
All right, and we are back, and of course, this is the point at which we get into our headlines. So, Wendell, the Express is all yours.
All right. Today, of course, is Thursday, October 16th, and some of the stories trending in today's Express reads: Trump authorizes CIA operations in Venezuela. So that's things are ramping up in Venezuela. Soldier missing, family fears for his safety after death threats. Middle class can afford wider range of vehicles. I don't know who said that. Armed robbery at Chaguana supermarket, suspect in custody. Gun attack on doubles vendor, $150 in sales taken. And of course, one of the stories was about the fishermen who were killed out there in a boat yesterday with a strike from the United States. Well, an alleged strike from the United States. I don't know if they take responsibility for it. But people are saying he was just out there with a colleague fishing. Had nothing to do with drugs, right? So those are some of the trending stories in today's Express.
All right, so in the news day for today, CDS promoted Regiment Coast Guard get new commanders. Alcohol and tobacco duties to apply locally first. Didn't apply locally first. What that means to apply locally first. Wouldn't it always have applied locally?
I think so. Well,
I'm a little confused. But anyway, but alcohol and tobacco duties to apply locally first. I don't know if alcohol has gone up as yet, because of course it would be stock that people would have had that would not have been privy to those duties. But you know
that will work, right? Because most people take things on credit anyway. So they may not have paid for it as yet.
Yeah, but it's still in the country already, so there are no customs duties on it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I don't
that's-
know how it will, but
Yeah.
nothing goes down, Richard. Who said that yesterday? This is it. Somebody put up a post that I found interesting. The only thing that has gone down in this country in a long, long time is actually gas. You know?
Mm. And anyway, why did my brain go there? Anyway, additional
Yeah, on the breakfast show, that's why.
additional sailings for Tobago Carnival. Minority wants more flights, and TNTech ordered to provide policy on high tension power lines on private property. And Housing Minister mourns East Side murder victim. 9 Venezuelans charged with illegal entry, and Tancoo Hotel School to be reopened, which I think is good news. I was always a little bit taken aback of why they closed it in the first place.
Yeah, that's good
Wasn't it
news.
during COVID?
Why you could have reopened it, Wendell?
I know, but wasn't it? Well, I think a
No,
lot of
I
people
don't think it was
stopped
closed
going.
because of COVID. I think it was closed because you could have done online.
Mm-hmm.
So it was but it was closed under the People's National Movement, and I was always confused
Mm-hmm.
why they did it, especially if you were trying to build a tourism product.
Yeah, I remember when it was closed, and we
Yeah.
really wondered why. But I think it was
Right.
because of the interaction. You know, at least that's what was said, and the fact that it was undersubscribed. But
No, I don't think that was it at all.
what's that?
And no, I don't think that was it.
But you can't say you do think that was it, and don't tell me what it is.
I'm telling you that's not it.
Okay. I'm sure that was part of it.
All right, okay.
Should I come off while you discuss it?
Go ahead, Richard. Read.
Ashley wins tutor presidency by landslide and
Yay!
as your personal friend.
No, but
Your teacher? You what?
association. By association.
But I think that rebirth team can give credit to its win to partly being on the breakfast show. I think if
Of
other
course.
teams,
So now you understand why I'm celebrating, right?
But we established that already.
Right.
Almost all of them won. Mhm.
anyway, over to you and the Guardian teacher.
All right. Okay. No problem. So in The Guardian today, 2 Trinis killed in latest U.S. strike. And there's a story about the Maloney father and 9-year-old son shot during a home invasion.
That's horrible.
Yeah, very, very exciting. PNM-led corporation to send home workers after budget cuts.
Who was that?
That was a story. If I may just intervene here, Sir Charles, a little bit.
Yeah.
That there was a story last night on news that UNC-led corporations. This is what seemed from the data that was put up on the screen. UNC-led corporations got increases in their allocations for local government. So I think Shagwana's got like a $14 million increase. Different things got different millions dollars increases. And then there were decreases. ARIMA's budget went down by $9 million. I don't know how that's going to affect ARIMA. Port of Spain went down by 700 and something thousand. San Fernando went down by 4 million. And so it seemed as if it was vindictive. It seems that
Political.
way. It seems that way. That because and they couldn't get in contact with the mayor of Arima and Point Fortin also went down too. And so that was the picture that was on CNC3 that they showed you the charts of increases and decreases. And you had the minister, trying to explain it and saying something that didn't make sense to me about the old way of allocating. You can't have major cities, because San Fernando also went down by 4 million. The major cities, Port of Spain, San Fernando, and Arima, suffer such huge deductions, and that might affect jobs and stuff like that. The San Fernando may have said that some jobs may have to go, and then give Chaguanas 14 million more, and say it's justified. It reeks of political politicizing the allocations of local government. Because what you have to remember, Minister Amin, with all due respect, is that you have some of your same UNC voters, if you want to go on party cards, who are in all of these constituencies.
Yeah.
You understand? So, and that's not how you treat citizens across the country. It should be an equitable movement of money, but you can't obviously have deductions in what looks like corporations not led by UNC suffering decreases, and those that are led by UNC getting increases. Obviously, it's going to read a particular way.
But why wasn't that a headline in any of the newspapers?
And I was on CNC3 News last night.
Yeah.
And they showed it. They showed you decreases, and they showed you the increases. They didn't say. They just said these are the ones that suffered decreases, and these are the ones that got increases. And it looked pretty obvious in that light. So fix that. That's not Trinidad and Tobago. It's too small a space to do that kind of rubbish. And especially if people are going to lose jobs.
Yeah. You know what's the justification, at least I'm thinking, because I haven't seen this story, is that it happened before with PNM. But we'll find out, because I'm surprised a story like that is not a headline story.
Yeah, well, every generation breaks the generation before, so that's good. So getting back to the headlines.
Every generation does what?
What did you
Builds the one before.
Builds the one before?
Blames.
Oh, blames.
Yeah, it's in
generation. You mean government?
Yeah, well, we know, but yeah, it's in the living years. We'll check out the song. Minister hits back at column over 10% wage offer critique. Tancoo says new taxes will spread opportunity for everyone. So we have questions to ask. Minister tours Petrotrin 5-step revival, touts Petrotrin 5 steps revival plan. And TTARP claims credit for getting NIS retirement age raised to 65. So, yeah, some of the stories in the Guardian.
All right. What are we polling today, by the way?
Well, while you work that out, Wendell, put it squarely in your lap.
Do the one with the corporation, Wendell.
Yeah.
Corporates on the follow.
So we can open up the lines at this point. This is where we get interactive with our audience, so you can start calling. I'm gonna just put up the numbers. But so 2811315. Of course, you're watching the Breakfast Show on your erattradio.com. I have to send you the Breakfast Show logo, Sijaz. They are the numbers, and you can start calling. And of course, you can get interactive with us this morning. Before we get into our morning poll, and of course the news at the top of the hour, and of course in the next hour, we are going to have the Minister of Finance, Davendranath Tancoo. He will be joining us in the next hour, and we'll be discussing, of course, naturally, the budget and some of the issues arising out of the budget. And so,
all right,
don't miss that. Do not miss that.
So let's go to the lines. Ms. Sampson, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I have heard enough about this budget. Everybody just going around the mulberry bush.
It no started.
Salt went down. What kind of salt? Pot salt, iodized salt, sea salt, what salt? I just use pink salt. Is that went down?
You is an expensive salt.
When then you see why does he complaining about San Fernando? And now the place will be stink. Oh, Lord have mercy. You cannot run a country and hate like that, man. That's like a bad stepmother, you're treating your children good and the others you just don't care what is taking place in this country. The journey now starts. Father help, take the wheel. You all have a good day.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Sampson. Good morning to you, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Happy birthday, Wendell.
Thank you.
I just want to. I work in Port Spain, right? I hear every day. And walking through Port of Spain is feels like a dump.
It is.
I walked through Independence Square day before yesterday. I wanted to call yesterday the highlight of what I didn't got through. However, Brian Lara Promenade, my goodness, can the mayor's Porterson please do something with Brian Lara, please. Employ some people just to keep the promenade. Have a looking spick and span, look at grass growing, garbage. I feel ashamed walking through the city, especially Brian Lara Promenade.
Try going through City Gate or Kola. Try and go and take a maxi or go for a bus.
Yeah, well, it's about City Gate. It was City Gate. But I'm looking at Brian Lara because remember we have tourists coming up the boat, the ships are coming into the city. At first place they're gonna walk on is Brian Lara Promenade. Right? That's your first point of contact. So why just have the place looking nice for the not for the only for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, but for the tourists too. Right? Have a good day, gentlemen.
Yeah, take care. Years ago, I remember there was a committee under our council called the Promenade Management Committee. And that's when we had people specifically assigned to the promenade. Don't ask me why that was stopped or when it was stopped, but it was stopped. And I used to go travel naturally, and whenever I travel, I would take pictures of how they would clean spaces and so on. Sometimes one person with a little cart and a scoop and so on moving around, keeping a place clean. I specifically remember I sent some images of places in Barcelona. I tired talk. I ain't not talking no more. I don't want to hear nothing about them things.
All right. Hola, good morning to you.
Morning, gentlemen. Norfolk, Virginia, front and center. That quote that Sir Charles just did, I don't know if he's aware of it himself, but you kind of just threw me back when you said that. You know who I heard that from the very first time? The late Archbishop Anthony Panton. He used that quote and he gave his own local twist there too when he spoke about one generation gains and the other generation just squanders it away. So well said, Sir Charles, in your philosophical viewpoint, as Richard put it on things this morning. And anyway, so you guys have a good morning.
Thank you. Take care. Yeah. Brian Lara Promenade needs personal attention.
The city of Port of Spain needs some attention, and you can't deal with the city of Port of Spain and beautifying it without dealing with the vagrancy problem and the homelessness problem to some degree.
Yes.
You have to be able to deal with that.
Yes, and that's why I reached out to Minister Vandana Mohit. I didn't get a response this time about what's going on with the social development building that was going up. The one on South Key. It has not.
It's paused. Like everything is paused. Everything is paused.
Yeah.
And that one needs to be completed because there was a plan to deal with that in terms of dealing with some of the homelessness and vagrancy issues in the city of Port of Spain. And some of those people in Port of Spain who are vagrants have mental issues.
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, so since I was going to school, they had mental issues.
Yeah.
It had one that cuffed me at a time when I walking on the road, cuffed me in my shoulder. Yeah.
That's the one who started to pray for you, did it? Throw water on you and pray for you?
No, there was never one like that. And
yes, somebody by City Gate started to pray for you and pointed.
No, you're confusing issues, you're getting old. So, cuffed me in my shoulder, and I said, I should sue the Port of Spain City Council because it's your responsibility. I was going to school at the time, but you just move on because that's just life in Trinidad and Tobago. You get abused sometimes and you just move on. So that one in Citygate, when that was because we were talking on radio, and I have a particular slant about religion.
All right, hold 1 minute there, guys. Captain Ron, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Wendell, first of all, happy belated birthday. Happy. I hope you had a good time yesterday.
Thank you, Captain Ron. Thank you. I did.
God bless you. May God bless you to see many, many more. Listening to you guys here just so this thing with the people in power right now doing that kind of stuff, penalizing the opposition people or areas. It's really ridiculous. I always say if I was a minister or prime minister of a country, I will do best to especially help all the opposition people so they will come on my side, But remember, he's going against his slogan, when UNC win, everybody wins. So I don't know why they're doing that. Why are they doing that? So it shows a personal spite. That's what that shows to me. And also I want to say, if you go back in history, you would notice what they're doing, what Trump is doing here with the press is exactly what they were accusing Obama of when he was in power. So you see, and I hope a lot of the people here in America who are for Trump see exactly how they're pushing their foot in their mouth right now. Anyway, guys, have a great day listening to you all. That's all.
Take care, Captain.
Yeah.
Well, we don't, when we get Minister back on, she can probably explain it. But, maybe there is some reason that we're not seeing why that is being done. I think she was trying to say, what she was trying to say, according to the news last night, I always have to say according to the news, was that it was the old way of allocating was not always fair or some version of that.
That's what I thought. That's what I expect to hear.
Yeah. So to justify it.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm gonna look to see if we get the article concerning it specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we're still taking your calls.
Yeah. Caller, good morning. Caller. Caller, like you listening to something else. People are taking your calls. When the caller ready, he'll probably jump inside.
Yeah.
Right. Caller, are you there with us now?
Take our next call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ms. Sampson, that's not. They may have won the seats in San Fernando, one seat in San Fernando, but they didn't win the corporation. I suspect. Well, local government elections is next year, isn't it? It's sometime next year. So all of this, I guess, is in preparation. Just like the increase in the amount that Tobago got, I'm sure it's to ensure that their proxy party wins again in Tobago. You understand? The party that supports the government.
You're well beaten up, Fali.
What it is, Fali? It's Fali. What Fali party name again? TPP or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we know they are opposed to the PNM, and we know they've been supporting the government. So and they've been high in praise of the government for getting the largest slice of our budget. So all this is politics. I'm not fussing again like how I used to fuss. Trust me, I'm not. Somebody asked me the other day, yesterday, what thing going on and thing, because I'm out of the country. I said, all right. You don't care.
So let me just read a little bit. Let me just read a little bit of the article in the Trinidad Guardian this morning, Wendell. The regional corporations controlled by the Opposition People's National Movement received a decrease in funding for their 2026 operations compared to 2025, while corporations controlled by the United National Congress government received increased allocations. This was observed in the list of allocations for corporations in the draft estimate of expenditure for 2026. The document was among the budget documents laid in Parliament on Monday by Finance Minister Davendranath Tancoo. Already, a PNM councillor has labelled the decreased funding spite and heat and fear that workers in opposition-controlled corporations may have to be let go. The PNM-controlled corporations all obtained fewer allocations than they had received in 2025 when the party was in government. They received decreases ranging from a minimum of 756,000 to a maximum of just over 9 million. The over 9 million is ARIMA.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Is ARIMA they're talking about, and the ARIMA mayor, Barry Maraj, you need to talk. Right. The list of decreases began with the Port of Spain City Corporation, which received 714,000 less. than its 2025 allocation of 210,714,000 received. So they got less. The San Fernando City Corporation received a 4,423,000 decrease from its 2025 allocation, receiving 136 million for 2026. Arima Borough Corporation received 80 million for 2026, down from 89,996,000. So it's almost 10 million, quite frankly. Point Fortin obtained 69 million compared to 72,455,000 in 2025. Digger Martin, Samuel Laventil, and Tunapuna corporations also received lower allocations than they did in 2025 under the previous PNM government. Meanwhile, UNC-controlled corporations in Chaguanas, Sangre Grande, Tabaqui, Cuba, Talparo, Mayaro, Rio Claro, Pinal, Debe, and Princestown all received increases. These range from a minimum of $6 million, which is the Superior Borough Corporation, to a maximum of 14 million Chaguanas Borough Corporation, more than the allocations they received in 2025.
But Tunapuna's reduction would directly impact the minister herself in her constituency.
Rural Development and Local Government Minister Khadija Amin did not immediately reply to Guardian Media's questions about the allocations and how the funding decisions were made. And well, the article goes on. So that's the article to what I saw on television last night.
All right. Mr. Patrick, good morning. Mr. Patrick?
Happy birthday, Mr. Wendell.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I was having a conversation with some people. All you know about a shipping company that shut down recently? Trinidad?
Yeah, Trinidad Couriers.
Where a lot of people lost all the stocks from since last year. Stocks coming to the country. The problem is that from what I understand,
they didn't lose it. They haven't received it.
Well, they shut down the company, so they receive nothing.
I know, but the goods here and the goods there, not so?
They had an auction, they say, or they had to go to court. Right. The problem was, I understand, they couldn't pay for the containers on the port. Nice? Now, in this budget, a lot of people don't know, they raise cigarettes, they raise alcohol, and other things. But you know, they raise container fees too. By 100%. Customs raise container fees by 100%. People understand what that means? All goods and services coming to the country subject now to higher custom fees. That means everything we import going up. And nobody ain't talking about the 10% tariff. So people need to get everything clear and get some answers. What about the 10% tariff? I hear nothing mentioned about that. But customer fees gone up on containers. And that is plenty money, Papa.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much, Mr. Patrick.
The poll, please.
Yeah, it was coming up.
All right. Should the Minister of Local Government explain why UNC-led corporations got an increase and PNM got decreases in allocations? All right. I guess, well, did you say that she made gave an explanation, Richard?
They just had a sort of, she didn't give an actual explanation in the news item last night. They just said that she said that they were the old way of allocating stuff wasn't fair and that they were moving to a new method or something like that. A version like that. I can't remember her actually saying it. It's all reported.
All right. So an addendum to that question could be: do you agree with the explanation given by the Minister of Local Government for the increase in UNC corporations and the decreases in PNM? Right? Do you agree with that explanation, or should the minister? Which one you wanna go with?
Leave it as it is.
Okay, we're leaving it as it is.
Just leave it so.
All right. Good.
because it wasn't an actual interview with her explaining anything. I think it was just a reported speech kind of stuff. So you can leave it like that.
We'll go with what we have there. Yeah. All right. And when we are clear
Or
on
you
that
can say,
explanation,
yeah.
when we are clear on that explanation, we will ask, do you agree with that? All right? That's no problem. That's what we're here for on the breakfast show.
So you're seeing the poll, and of course, you can continue to vote on the poll throughout the news. And of course, it's 7 o'clock on the dot. So news is next.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio and Guile Caribbean. I'm Derek. Finance Minister Davendranath Tancoo has announced plans to reopen the TT Hospitality and Tourism Institute in Chaguaramas. Tancoo said the institute was established to train people working in the tourism and hospitality industry, including chefs and support staff. The TTHTI closed in 2020 due to COVID-19 restrictions and the non-payment of subventions by the previous government. After operating for roughly 2 decades, the finance minister also revealed that a similar project is being developed in Tobago, with more details expected from Trade, Investment and Tourism Minister Satyakama Maharaj. The reopening is expected to boost the tourism workforce across Trinidad and Tobago. Minister in the Ministry of Energy, Ernesto Kaiser, says the government is moving to create jobs in the fence-line communities of Point Fortin and La Brea, which were hit hard by the closure of the Petrotrin refinery. He announced the launch of a community fence-line contractor program, set to begin in November 2025, aimed at re-engaging small and medium contractors in those areas. Minister Kaiser said the initiative will start with about 50 contractors per zone, but that number could increase as the program expands. He explained that the focus is on revitalizing the oil and gas industries, both upstream and downstream, to help restore economic activity in these southern communities. Crystal Ash is the new president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, winning by a landslide in the October 14th elections. Ash, a school supervisor, secured 3,546 votes, more than triple that of outgoing President Martin Lumpkin, who received just over 1,000. Nigel Figueroa was elected second vice president with 4,395 votes, while Barry Desane captured the third vice president post with just over 4,000 votes. In other key positions, Sue Ann Marchand narrowly won the race for general secretary, and Dylan Herrick Singh was elected treasurer after defeating Gewan Durga. Ash is expected to lead TTUTA into a new chapter of advocacy for teachers across Trinidad and Tobago. Public Services Association, PSA, President Felicia Thomas has accused the opposition of lying about wage offers made to public servants. Thomas slammed claims that a 9% offer had been made under the opposition's administration, calling it a blatant lie. Speaking at a news conference Tuesday, she said documents show the actual offer was just 4% over 6 years, far less than the government's new 10% proposal announced in Monday's budget. Thomas described the new offer as a victory for workers, saying it reflects respect for public officers' contribution, especially during the pandemic. She also criticized former Finance Minister Brian Manning, telling him to sit down and stay out of public officers' business. Meanwhile, Labor Minister and former PSA President Leroy Baptiste praised the 10% offer, calling it a bold, people-centered move that rejects the previous 4% and 5% proposals. He said it shows the government's commitment to improving the standard of living for workers and their families. A 9-year-old boy and his father are recovering in hospital after both were shot during a home invasion in Maloney Gardens early this morning. Police say the incident happened around 4 a.m. when the 49-year-old father heard banging on his front door and believed it was law enforcement. Before he could open it, 2 masked gunmen forced their way in, The man ran into his son's room, but the gunmen followed and opened fire, hitting both father and son in their legs. They were taken to the Arima hospital, where they remain in stable condition. Police are continuing investigations, but so far, a motive for the attack has not been determined. Residents of Carlson Field remain on edge after another violent crime struck the community early Tuesday morning. Around 4:20 a.m., a 36-year-old woman was attacked outside her home on Pipecon Road by 4 masked men, one of them armed. Police say the suspects forced the woman into her house, tied her up, and announced a robbery before escaping with $2,000 in cash, an iPhone 13, several pieces of gold jewelry, including wedding bands, and 4 pairs of sneakers. The men, all described as slim-built and dressed in dark clothing, fled the scene in a waiting vehicle. Internationally, US President Donald Trump says Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally assured him that India will stop buying Russian oil. Trump added that the change won't happen immediately, but is expected within a short period of time. The claim has not been confirmed by the Indian government. The Indian embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Trump has been pushing for a resolution to the war in Ukraine, which began almost 4 years ago with Russia's invasion. He has criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin as the main obstacle and plans to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday. India is the second largest buyer of Russian oil, after China. In August, Trump imposed higher tariffs on India to pressure the country to reduce its Russian oil imports. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Your mid-morning just got better. Join Sir Charles for the mid-morning mix and mingle, where good music, real talk, health, and family matters come together, and your voice is heard. Whether you're at work, on the go, or just taking a break, this is the perfect mix to keep you engaged, informed, and entertained. The mid-morning mix and mingle, weekdays, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Morning vibes, fresh energy. This is the Net Radio Breakfast Show.
Hear me? I come again, I come again. Hey, come on, come on. Good God. Bacchanal, 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 bacchanal. Hey. I come back again, I come back again. Hey. Hold on. Hear me? Tuesday morning I was dreaming, I was in a band. Hey! Bing bong, bing bong, hey! Bing bong, bing bong, hey! Shadow leave me, but don't leave me. I come out to jam, hey! Bing bong, bing bong, play. Bing bong, bing bong. 1974 shadow rule the town. But in 75, believe me, I'm gone. So I come back down from the cemetery with me hot bass and gun. Hey! I bring a song to rule the tongue. Everybody roll and tumble down. Play. Bing bong, bing bong. Bing bong, bing bong. Bing bong, bing bong. He said, "Don't play the music and play the music and play the music and break away." Hey, hey, good God, hear me? Play the music and play the music and play the music and leave all day. Hey, hold on, hear me, hear me, hear me. Hey, spread your hand and break away. 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 Hold on, hey, 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 hey. Nice, I come back again, I come back again. Hear me? Whee, whee, whee. Good God, nice man, the thing good. Monday evening, he's still jamming by the hospital. Hey, bing bong, bing bong, play. Bing bong, bing bong. Patients waving, shouting, shouting from the hospital. Hey, bing bong, bing bong, play. Bing bong, bing bong. Party, party, everybody enjoy. Party, party, plenty girls will get boys. With a tung bang, bang, palang, palang, bingling, bingling, bingling. The tenor man, the guitar man, suddenly they wake up my bass man. Bing bong, bing bong, play. Bing bong, bing bong, hey. Bing bong, bing bong, play. Bing bong, bing bong. He want me play the music and play the music and play the music and break away. Play the
just got better. You're locked into Net Radio Breakfast Show, fueling your day with the best music and real talk.
Put your hand in the air. Put something in the air. Hey everybody, good morning to you, and of course welcome, welcome inside hour number 2. 7 o'clock hour is happening right here on New Era TT Radio, Net Radio. And we want to say a very special good morning to the folks in Gael Caribbean. Thank you very much for being here and stay with us, right? Of course, we are streaming all day, every day. So when we come off of the TV feed, remember you can get us at newerattradio.com. You can listen to us all day, every day. Just put in New Era TT Radio in your browser, and of course you'll be able to get us on TuneIn, get us on your Alexa and all of your Google devices. Yeah. So remember, continue to vote on the poll. The poll is up. Right? So do you think there should be explanation as to why, or probably in-depth explanation as to why government corporations have been given larger allocations than opposition corporations? So you're voting yes or no. Put that first and then put your comments after, right? Of course, keep it here. We will be back shortly.
Don't miss Furniture Plus Inventory Blowout Sale. Get up to 65% off in-store and online. Enjoy massive savings on furniture, appliances and more. Hurry, this deal won't last. Shop now and save big at Furniture Plus.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davandri tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
Advertise with us on New Era TT Radio, the fastest growing streaming platform for talk in Trinidad and Tobago. Audio and video ads welcome. Elevate your brand with us. Connect with us at newerattradio@yahoo.com or call us at 299-5156. Now what are you waiting for?
The public is demanding it, so the laughter continues. Your Dolly Faldo Watch Corn is now at Central Bank Auditorium for 2 nights only. Saturday, October 25th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 26th at 6:30 p.m. Don't miss the play that some say is the funniest of all time. Tickets available now online and at the usual outlets. And from Monday, October 20th, 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily at the Central Bank box office. Your Dolly Faldo Watch Corn has been matching up audiences.
Of course, we're back and we're getting into our poll results at this point. And of course, our poll question for today is right there. It is.
Should the Minister of Local Government explain why UNC-led corporations got an increase and PNM got decreases. All right, that's our poll this morning. All right, let me start from Michael Cadet, who says yes. Where is the others? Michael Cadet says yes. Hold on a second. Where did I scrolled too fast somewhere. Right. Josie Richardson says yes. Susan Jessup says yes. Michael Cadet, as I said yes. Florence Basley, yes. Kazim Mohammed, yes. Margaret Thomas, no. David McCarthy, yes. Joyce Phillip, yes. Ava Smith, yes. Marlon Motley, yes. Rena Jennings, yes. Eunice Dublin, yes. Alistair Hart, yes. Gregory Boyer, yes. Vernon Smith, yes. Ebony, yes. Helen Prescott, yes. Cheryl Henry, yes. Valerie Mendoza, yes. Ebony, okay. Coated Finn, yes. James Kamau, no. Bernadette Yates, yes. Ila Rizan, yes. Beauty Culture, yes. Brent Hackshaw, yes. People are saying the Minister of Finance should be able to give an explanation. We'll ask him. Diane Payne, yes. Classic Brother, yes. Stephen Harper, yes. Susan is wishing happy birthday greetings to her cousin Alana. Derek Billwin, yes. Michael Oliver, yes. Wayne Joseph, yes. Robert Taylor, yes. Rico Myers, yes. Shoma Paul, yes. Mo Gaines, yes. And Elizabeth, yes. Those are the results.
All right. So on the WhatsApp, I have Pauline saying no. PCOs. Jeanette in Tobago says yes. Sandra, no, then vote. Brenda says yes. Terry Ann says no. CJ says yes. Junior says yes. Sean says no. And Anand says no. And those are what I have so far.
All right. And Margaret Thomas is saying she's changing her vote from no to yes.
Oh, so that's one of the no switching sides.
Yeah, she changed from no to yes, she said.
All right. So our poll this morning: should the Minister of Local Government explain why UNC-led corporations got an increase and PNM-led corporations decreases in allocations for the 2025-2026 budget? So we asked you, should the Minister of Local Government explain why this is so? You had 44 people voting in the allotted time. Of the 44 people voting, 40 of you, that's 40, said yes, and 4 of you said no. So the yeas have it in a majority this morning in the poll. And of course, the polling is now done. So done. So if you vote now, it wouldn't be counted anyway. So those of you who late to the vote,
yeah, so Captain Raniala late.
Yeah. So, some people are late.
Yeah, well,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, of course, we are going to go straight into our interview with the Minister of Finance. He's already backstage. So we bring him into the studio and we can start the conversation because we don't know how much time he has. So, of course, we're moving now into our interview with Davendranath Tancoo, the MP and Minister of Finance. Don't go anywhere. You're on The Breakfast Show. So, Minister Tancoo, are you here with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am. Good morning. Good morning. And good morning to your listeners and viewers as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us on The Breakfast Show. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this morning.
I appreciate the offer. Thank you very much.
Morning, Minister. Minister, is your camera? Can you put on your camera? We would love to see you.
I don't mind, but I'm trying to get organized to leave home right now. So give me a second. Let me sit so I look presentable, and then I would like to go off camera as I move into my car, etc., to drive off.
All right.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
no,
So,
We
that's
don't want to feel we have an AI minister now. We want to see the real person.
I hear you. I hear you. The AI in this case will actually mean actually intelligent, but we'll leave that for now. Hi, good day.
It'll be said here.
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Right. So I am actually preparing to leave home right now to go to office because I have a few meetings, again, based on the budget. So hence you will see me busily getting forward. And I've had interviews from 6 a.m. this morning and we're still going.
Okay, good. We appreciate the time. Right?
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess
Richard makes a very convincing argument. Very, very convincing. So, yes.
Telling me? 20 years now, I'm working with him. I should know.
Correct.
Anyway,
all right, gentlemen, let's get there.
Yeah, we can start with the poll question, though, Minister. We had asked our poll question this morning based on the allocations that were made in local government to the UNC.
And 40 out of 44 said, the vast majority said that we should explain why there's a disparity, why there's a reduction. Yes. I can tell you that there is a disparity, and that's part of the reasons for some of the changes you would have seen. In 2025 and before, we would have seen, and I would have highlighted geographic discrimination based on the allocation of resources. So we had resources being allocated to several corporations that were in a much better state than in others. We have corporations that preside over vast acreages that have obviously more infrastructural needs, etc., that was severely underfunded. What this is an attempt to create a balanced system where the needs are greatest. We are trying to target the resources to those. So yes, there will be some increases and there will be some decreases, but those decreases are based on needs. Now, in the last fiscal year, which is what everybody's comparing, including your good selves, 2025, there was a substantial amount of, and the Minister of Local Government will speak to it when she gets into the budgetary debate. We'll speak to it. In the last budget allocation, we had a substantial amount of employment, short-term contract employment taking place at regional corporations. We had a significant amount of unproductive expenditure taking place in regional corporations. But what we had were corporations where there was tremendous need for infrastructure, particularly infrastructure, not being given sufficient resources. You had Port of Spain, where all the roads are paved. They have drainage. Some of the drainage is not good because the corporation, Port of Spain Corporation, needs to answer for that, which is why Port of Spain floods so easily now. But some of the Port of Spain has all the street lights, all the physical infrastructure in some of these corporations, Port of Spain and San Fernando in particular, less so Arima. But the physical infrastructure in those corporations are it's infinitely better than when you look at even Point 14. You look at the Pinal Bay Regional Corporation, the Princestown Regional Corporation, the Mayaro Regional Corporations. And over the last 9.5 years, those corporations were denied access to funds continuously. Garbage collection became a crisis because they simply were not paying the government of the day at that time were not paying the suppliers. So what we are trying to do now is create a bit of a balance. Now, of course, if you had excessively expended and supported one side before, and by one side I mean a corporation, and starved the others, by raising the others and reducing this, you're trying to create a balance. It's not a victimization. It is an attempt to create a balance, and that is what is missing. Persons are using 2025 as the example. I challenge them to look at what has happened between 2015 and 2025. Sum it up on all sides. The Minister of Local Government will do it for you. So you see the disparity in the allocation of resources. We need to stop pointing fingers like that and start looking at the transparency and the accountability and the fairness and balance that we're looking at achieving.
All of those are valid points, but you could see why it would come across in the way that some people are seeing it. And I particularly want to make the case for Arima, because you talked about the infrastructure in San Fernando and Port of Spain, but Arima has been suffering from a lack of streetlights not being fixed. And of course, Arima has a pretty expansive thing. So even though the mayor hasn't said anything, I'm making an appeal for Arima because I'm from Arima and they need not to be. They have gotten the biggest deduction of $9 million, and I think
Yes,
that
but
should
look,
maybe be revisited.
again, I think the Minister of Local Government will show you the per capita and per square foot or square acre cost, and I think you'll get a better idea of what we're looking at. But street lighting and so on really doesn't fall under the regional corporation. They assist. That falls under I
But you
believe
also
it's
have the issue of roads,
yeah.
and even though ARIMA itself and its boundaries, they may seem, whatever the perspective is from the policymakers, you have to understand that La Quetta and all of those south of ARIMA utilize ARIMA as if ARIMA is the hub. So it's a specific case. It is the hub. For Santa Rosa, for Blanchy Shares, and all of those areas, because in terms of the constituency, the boundaries go all up there. But a lot of those people converge and utilize ARIMA and the roads and a lot of the resources in ARIMA. So I'm just making a case for that $9 million deduction should be revisited for ARIMA.
I want to suggest, Richard, I agree with you, but I also want to point you into a different direction. Over the last 9.5 years, the PNM has been in office, and over the last 9.5, the PNM has been in government, and over the last 9.5 years, PNM controls the ARIMA Borough Corporation. And they have done what they needed to do, or have not done what they should have done, which is to ensure that services reach the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But it's not just the allocation. There will be an increased insistence that monies allocated for projects are used for projects. There will be the increased insistence that money that is allocated to the regional corporations are managed effectively and efficiently. That is not happening now. We have situations where corporations can find money to splurge on festivities, etc., but not enough money to spend on fixing roads, providing infrastructure, which is what their function is. And that is my problem, The money is there. I believe there's sufficient money allocated to the regional corporations now, today. What is required is ensuring that there's efficiency and effectiveness of spend, that there's value for money. And right now, over the last 3 years, we have not gotten that. What we need is proper monitoring of the money.
All right, I wanted to move on to other aspects of the budget.
If you don't mind, I would like to go off camera as I move as well, if you don't mind.
All right.
Before we go off the subject of local government, Sam on record as saying local government reform is a hoax. Wouldn't this be the ideal time now to deal with local government reform in its entirety?
Okay, you're preempting the Minister of Local Government's contribution to the budget. But yes, that is the short answer. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's about the best news I hear from local government. Well, I've been hearing it for so long. It's left to be seen if it actually takes place, because that is what.
And I take that too. I take that to implementation. We have an implementation deficit in this country. We have a PSIP, a Public Sector Investment Program, which is about infrastructural development, where the rate of implementation is about 30 or 40% maximum, which means 60% of the work that they said they were going to do, money was allocated, money was spent, and the work was not done. Implementation deficit. All of that has to change. We are assigning money now in hard conditions. You know how it is in your household, right? In your household, when you have $100 and you have plenty of money and you spend it, you could spend it. But when you have $20, you have to manage that carefully. At the start of the month, you could buy KFC, and at the end of the month, you have to make sure you buy food. You have to buy food to cook. That's where we are now. We have to actually manage each cent down to the cent. That is what we have to do. It's about management. It's about implementation with effectiveness. It's about monitoring continuously. And I think that in all fairness and frankness, if we could do this, we could end up in a situation where we have better value for money, and the wastage that currently exists at the local government level will be treated with severely.
Well, I hope those are not just words, Minister, because as I said, we've been talking about local government reform for ad nauseum. It's tiring sometimes, and it needs to be fixed, because all issues at the end of the day are in fact local issues. So once we fix that, we're going to have less people complaining about so many different things in the country.
Well, you have to understand our policies are people-based. And you're correct. You're making my point. I should leave, but you're making a better point than me. What has happened is we are people-centered government. And the local government is the first touch of the governance to the people. People relate to local government. The issues of flooding, crime, all of that is at a local government level. So if you could treat with those clearly, then that is what the government should be doing first. The national projects, the mega projects, the national lending policies, etc., are all supposed to be designed to bring services to the people directly. And that's what we are going to be doing.
As we are
Hold us to
talking
account.
about people,
Hold us to
employment.
account. Hold us to account. Richard knows my cell phone number now and will be able to find me at all kinds of ungodly hours. But hold us to account. That is what a caring population who wants to see Trinidad and Tobago first, a patriotic population, will do. And a patriotic government such as we are will be willing and must be willing to accept critiques, criticism, and recommendations.
Yeah. As you talk employment, Minister, what's the plan for re-employing or employing people in the fact that 40, 30, 40, we hear all kind of figures, would have lost their jobs through the CPEP, URP, reforestation? What's the immediate plan for that?
Well, I think you have to wait until the Prime Minister speaks, and I'm predicting, because I have a fair idea of more than fair idea of what is coming. When the Prime Minister speaks, immediately after she speaks, employment starts rolling out. Structures have been put in place to start employment almost immediately. But that is going to be not just URP and CPEP, but this is employment across the board, because when people get jobs, they spend in the economy. When they spend in the economy, it's called in economics a multiplier effect. It generates on itself and it builds on itself. And that is what we need to see the economy grow. But in terms of employment, I think people want to move away from the gimme and the dependency syndrome that we've been in for the last umpteen years, where who you know gives you a little end here. You must have a party card to join. That foolishness must stop. We can't have a system where a temporary form of measure lasts you 5 and 6 years. You're working in a temporary measure. You can't go to the bank to get a loan. You can't invest in a car for yourself. You're living day to day because your salary is meager. You're in a dependency syndrome. What we are trying to do is break that. We are trying to create proper, well-paying jobs so people can go to the bank and take a little loan to fix their homes, to buy a car, to improve their lives, to pay for their children's education. It can no longer be acceptable that we have persons working, but they're underemployed. They're working for less than minimum wage. And when you check it up, they're working for survival only. They're living day to day. And the day they get sick, everybody's in crisis because they have no money to go to the next day. They can't afford to pay a doctor. They go to a hospital, their children suffer. That kind of lack of care for people ends. More jobs will be announced, and you don't have long to wait. The budget debate starts tomorrow. You will hear the opposition say the same thing, and acceptable. They want to know where the jobs are coming from. They want to know where the revenues are coming from. Once we start the employment rollout, as we have proposed to do, and you will hear the Prime Minister rolling it out, I think it will be citizens will be hard pressed. Just by way of reference, there are 8,000 jobs, vacancies in the government service. 8,000 jobs. And there are tens of thousands of jobs where people can actually contribute to the development of the country. And those are the jobs that the Prime Minister will speak directly to during this budget debate.
I wanted to touch on the private sector, Minister Tancoo, in terms of, because the private sector is also a driver of economic growth, obviously, and jobs.
Yeah, I
know you're coming off camera, but you can listen to my question.
Yes,
So the issue of the custom duties, container fees, the electricity rates, etc., that it's now being applied to commercial and industrial customers. Are you worried that that is going to dampen business confidence and also maybe curtail economic investment because it becomes more expensive? And might it not have been more productive to tax profits rather than the route that your policymakers and you have chosen? What's your take on that?
Excellent question. A lot of what we are taxing now, where the rates are increasing, are profits. The asset levy, the business surcharge, the landlord surcharge, business surcharge. Those are income streams that are not necessarily at this point subjected to taxation. The container fees, those fees If you check all of those added together, it's a minuscule cost. Literally, it is introductory prices that we are using at this point. Introductory in the sense that they are at the lowest possible level. What we are doing is we are asking everybody to pay a fair share to the development of the country, the development needs. We need to spend money. We need to raise money to spend. This is the softest way that we could have found to do it. So there's going to be the possibility of banks passing on the charges to customers. That is a fact. There's the possibility of landlords passing on charges to customers. That is a fact. There's a possibility of importers passing on the. So I'm sure these are the questions and concerns that are being raised directly by your listening audience. What I could tell you is we are asking banks, we are asking all of these industries, these enterprises, to pay a fair share, and the fair share is minimal. But I'm also asking citizens not to take things for granted, not to simply lay back and allow businesses to take advantage. Citizens, the power of the citizenry is in their ability to make an educated choice. So if a bank raises its costs, go elsewhere. And we can check online now, we can check to see where best options are for transactions. And if you find that the banking sector is not treating you fairly, then we also have other local credit unions and so on that you can go to. Banks have been declaring super profits, but you can't get a toilet. You can't go to the bank and get a toilet. That is because the banking community now has become focused on profit margins only. What we are asking them to do now is to come on board to let us all build the country. Start becoming a little bit more citizen focused. Because I will tell you this, if we do what we are proposing to do right, and the banking sector accepts their role in contributing to national development, and there is national development, you know what will happen to the banks? Their revenue streams will skyrocket. The banks will continue to make more money. So we are giving them the opportunity at this stage to help us build an economy where they will make more money too.
I'm assuming that this type of discussion was held with the banks before, because you know the record we have here is that banks more or less align with one another.
Oh yes. Yes, I have not had substantial discussions with the banking sector because I will tell you this, nobody wants to pay more taxes. Nobody wants to give up some of their revenue. Nobody does. I am challenging the banking sector. And like I said, we could leave it as, well, this always happens and this always happens. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago need to take a stand, as they have done on other issues, need to take a stand and demand that they get fair treatment. And you can't tell me, I have gone to the bank and I literally went just to see what the cost of a transaction is. And the cost of a withdrawal of $20, I don't want to call it figure, because you may be able to figure it out yourself, but the cost of the withdrawal of $20 in a bank using a bank card, I mean, that is ridiculous. It is ridiculous that I have to spend the kind of money I'm spending on fees. And when I ask a bank to contribute a minuscule amount to national development, that they may pass it on. I am asking citizens to pay attention to your transactions and to hold the sectors to account. I'm also asking the banking sector to pay their fair share now. That's it. It's a pay their fair share.
Yeah.
They also want, and I want to say it again, the banks want the same things. The owners of the banking sector want better roads. They want lower cost electricity. They want reliability of water supply, because they also live in Trinidad and Tobago generally. So all the things that they want, I'm asking them to contribute more too.
Yeah, and I know in keeping on the business question, I know you talked at length in your budget statement about the modernization of the customs department and the upgrading of the software, etc., etc. Is this, in your view, going to make the business, is going to increase business efficiency, especially with regard to importers? That's one. Because a lot of times I know businesses complain about the port and how long things take to be cleared, and the additional fees they incur when that happens. And also, why shouldn't, well, I mean, you're new to the job, but is there any consideration to the minimum fee Trinidad and Tobago imports, especially people importing on Amazon and all eBay and Temu and whatever, that if you have a package that's worth 20 US or less, or I know the Jamaicans have a de minimis and Barbados has a de minimis, because it frees customs from clearing such packages of such low value. Is there any consideration in terms of things like that?
Well, let me answer the last question first. The correct answer to that, the easy answer to that is yes. We are looking at every possible way of improving the system. And one of the ways of improving the system is removing what may be considered nuisance taxation. Because you are correct, some of these things, if you're importing $50, you have to go through the same process and considerations as if you're importing $5,000 and $500,000. So yes, there is some consideration being paid now to treating with the minimus fees. That is a fact. That is happening now. It exists now. It's just not as significantly large as we would like it to be. Yeah. So there's consideration for that, but I can't do everything at the same time. I must also shelter the revenue needs. I must balance the revenue needs with what exists now. And I also don't want to, let me say it differently. I want to increase efficiency. So I'm answering this like the first question. I want to increase efficiency at the port before we provide some of the concessions that are required in addition to what is being done at the port. You will see improved efficiency. That is the function of this. And if you see improved efficiency, you should see a reduction in the penalties and in the costs applied to persons who are importers. Importers have been complaining on a continuous basis, rightly so, about the inefficiencies at the port, rightly so, because those result in costs. You have huge demurrage costs. You have delays in receiving the shipments. And during the Christmas season, for example, if you have a delay, you lose the season, you lose substantial revenue. So we are working on fixing the port. We are working on fixing the customs and excise. Once those things happen, you will see a reduced cost of doing business and therefore an improved cost of doing business. And we could then look at the other issues.
Yeah. The issue of this is a question from one of our listeners actually. The private pensions and it not being taxed. There was no mention, or I don't know if I missed it, with regard to government pensioners and what is going to be their status. Are they not also going? Is income tax also going to be removed from government retirees as you're doing with private pensions?
I have to double check that. I don't have that answer off the top of my head because I'm not aware that we still have those taxation on government. You mean like NIS pensions and so on?
No, but retirees in the government service would get pensions. Sometimes it would be below the taxation threshold of I think 7,000 and less. But you also have those who are above 7,000 who are taxed, and which is their pension. As they get older and older. And I know on the platform, the now Prime Minister would have said that government pensioners and private pensions would not be taxed. Actually, both parties were saying kind of the same thing on that point. But in your budget statement, you mentioned private pensions, but you didn't specifically mention government pensioners. So I think they just wanted that cleared up. But I don't know if you're not clear on what the position is at this point.
I am not clear on what the position is. So in my wrap up, I will treat with some of these things, and if I get the information before that, I will issue something just to clarify it.
Yeah.
I will raise that. I'm actually going to be on the way to office just now. I will raise that with my team, and perhaps the best way to treat with this will be not to wait on the budget debate and just issue a clarification if required.
Yeah. Minister, I would like to just find 1 minute, Wendell. I'm eagerly waiting to hear what the Prime Minister herself has to say about the job creations and URP and CPEP. I compliment the government on making the step to stamp out wastage, corruption wherever it is it is seen. This area that you all started with CPEP and URP. Are there other areas that the government is going to be looking at also for reform, just to continue to remove this wastage that has been taking place? Because there are a number of areas where the same kind of thing takes place in other areas?
No, the short answer to that is yes, it must be so. Every minister has been challenged by myself and by the Honourable Prime Minister, both at Cabinet and elsewhere, to eliminate every sort of wastage, to identify and eliminate, and every minister is going to be held accountable. Just for clarification and for help, one of the committees that has been established at the Office of the Prime Minister, the only function of that committee is to ensure that the budget expenditure is implemented as it should be. I said before, I believe I may have said it here, we have an implementation deficit where you are accustomed hearing politicians promise, and then we have 30% of the PSIP being used and 70% spent, but you see no value for it. What we propose to do is ensure that we get value for money across the board. And by definition, I raised it in the budget debate, $5 billion per year was lost in contracts awarded by ministries, and that couldn't happen, by the way, in which nobody knew who the recipients were. No KPIs were done, no key performance indicators were done. Nobody knew what the criteria was to award the contracts, and nobody even knew if the contracts were actually done. $5 billion. I just posted a $3.8 billion deficit. If we had that $5 billion clean, we would not have even had the deficit. But that's $5 billion lost in criminal misconduct. And that is not the mismanagement which also exists. So I think if we fix some of those, our revenue stream may remain the same, but our expenditure pattern will be much more accountable.
Minister, I just wanted to bring up this thing because I know the orange economy, the creative sector, but of course, I'm just now looking at an industry that I'm heavily involved in. And the electricity rate increase for commercial and industrial customers. I know that schools and health care, and I think religious institutions were exempted from that increase in the electricity rates. You could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just lobbying that theaters which are state-owned be also included, because it affects the orange economy, which utilizes those theater spaces. So I just want to put that out there. You can ignore me, or you could take me.
No, let me answer that immediately. You mean like Napa and Sapa?
Napa, Sapa, Naparima Bowl, things like that. Queen's Hall.
Well, I share that view as well. I think by almost by definition, they must be similarly treated. They must now also be so. Even without prime ministerial involvement, I could tell you that my prime minister is very interested in performance in the development of the art sector, the creative sector. And yes, I share that view. That is not a difficult prospect to include.
Okay,
it may have tripped us in statement, but because we couldn't state everything. But yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Minister, recently
you got one win already, Richard. One win. Congratulations, well done.
Minister, recently it was reported in the newspapers that you only got $200 from a bank to travel. How is the government planning to treat with this issue of forex that has been a bane on our society for quite some time now? What's the plan?
This is the foreign exchange?
Yes, the foreign exchange.
Forex issues.
All right. So the forex issues are embedded in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. The foreign exchange issues are embedded in Trinidad and Tobago. Unfortunately, we've spent a long time avoiding treating with the disparities because those who were required to treat with it were the beneficiaries of the disparities. Only one group, and I'm not saying things that you in the studio don't know or your listening audience doesn't know. Only one group of persons are able to access almost free sheet. That the level of foreign exchange that we're talking about. Only one group, and that's unfair, and it's unethical, but it's also bad for business. What is being done now is a review of the entire system. Now that unfortunately can't happen at the snap of a finger. That takes a while because it's interlinked and interlocked. So we're doing multiple things. We are trying to generate new industries that will generate new revenue streams. We're trying to ensure via transfer pricing legislation and so on that those multinationals that are in the system contribute fairly as well to the revenue streams, especially in foreign exchange. Just by way of example, the figure that I found, based on is that we were losing upwards of $17 billion in foreign exchange. This is not 17 billion foreign exchange US dollars, but $17 billion converted to US dollars on an annual basis from one stream of income, that was the natural gas sector, because of transfer pricing, failure to implement transfer pricing legislation. So if we treat with the existing facilities and just make sure that we cut out the leakages, because there are lots of errors and omissions. What we hide behind as errors and omissions when we treat with foreign exchange allocation, foreign exchange accounting, there are lots of foreign exchange that gets leaked through the system. So we are treating with that via transfer pricing legislation and by closer monitoring by the central bank. But that's existing structure. We are increasing the amount of businesses that will generate foreign exchange. That's one other way. We are going into a greater enhancement and development of the agricultural sector, which will involve import substitution. We are passing legislation right now, which will ensure that the BIR is much more effectively enhanced to pursue tax evaders, including foreign exchange generators. And then we're also pursuing a better management of the Exim Bank, which is what the small and medium-sized, small and medium-sized sector where they get the foreign exchange from. We are also, and I want to make that point, we are also going after the illegal gambling. Because why we go after the illegal gambling is because that sector generates a substantial amount of money because they are involved in other kinds of criminal activities. That money is converted to US currency. And they pay an exorbitant rate for US currency. So they also now have created a market separate and aside from the regular market where persons can get the foreign exchange at the banks and they go to the black market. There's a gray market, which is different because this group actually has the cash and are buying foreign exchange at high rates to ship outside of Trinidad and Tobago. So by going after them, we are curbing that gray market from continuing to operate.
You know, Minister,
I've identified quite a few things.
But I've been hearing this talk about this economy and so on since Patrick Manning was alive and was Prime Minister, and it's never been dealt with. How does this government plan to deal with it? I think you quoted a figure of $9 billion with this illegal gambling and so on that's taking place.
Oh yeah, I just got a call that kind of popped us. Yeah, I didn't hear your questions. I apologize.
Right. No, I was saying that this issue of the illegal gambling and this economy that's generating income of $9 billion. We've been hearing about it since Mr. Patrick Manning was Prime Minister and alive. But nothing has been done about it. How do you plan to fix that?
Do something about it. That's what we plan to do. We are planning to do something about it. And I've laid it out in the budget what we plan to do. We are increasing enforcement. Let me give you an example, and this will clarify it. In Cunupia, in Chinchin Road in Cunupia, and I'm identifying specifically the area so you'll understand what the problem is. In Chinchin Road in Cunupia, about 100 meters away from the police station, there's a shop, and anybody could pass and check it. Now I'm about to highlight them. That is offering 55 and 60 to 1 odds per playway. That is illegal. It's an illegal shop. They're not paying any taxes at all on their revenue streams. But they are happy to away from the police station. You know why it is that the police are unable to prosecute and persecute these individuals? Because the fine for this illegal activity is minuscule. It's less than $1,000. So it makes sense for them. It makes no sense for the police to prosecute it because these guys will simply pay the fine and go back and do the transactions again. What we are doing now is implementing a much higher fine, which will give the police the wherewithal to prosecute and persecute, to make it viable to prosecute and persecute these activities. And that will then bring persons away from illegal gambling. And if they are interested in gambling, they will go to the legal gambling, which is NLCB, which is state-owned, and which pays its dues and its taxes to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and contribute to our development, as opposed to contributing to illicit activity. So yes, there have been much talk. A lot of what we have in the budget is not new, you know. These things we have spoken about, and I have spoken about over the last few years. We've talked about it for a long time. What was always missing is there was the absence of political will to get it done. We are forced by necessity now, because of the financial situation that we have been placed in. we are forced by necessity now to ensure that we expedite all of these activities. It's not new. We are just going to be implementing because there's political will to make the change.
Minister, I just want to find out, because when we have all these special parliamentary committees and we watch these things on television and stuff, one thing that we always realize that the Auditor General Department, where accounting is concerned, is always 10, 12 years behind. If there's anything that is wrong with a body that is so far behind, I don't see anything that can be done to hold people to account in government agencies. What is being done to close that kind of gap and more accountability from the Auditor General to hold these ministries to account?
All right. The challenge with the Auditor General is the Auditor General has been identifying entities that have not supplied their accounts, audited accounts, for multiplicity of years. That is a failure of the boards of these entities. That's a failure of the boards to start with. I highlighted CAL, for example. CAL had a substantially large, I believe it's about 80-something persons in their audit department, but was not providing audited financial statements to the government of Trinidad and Tobago, to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I had the opportunity to sit on the Public Accounts Committee. And you're very correct. The committee found on a regular basis that we were looking at accounts from the 20th century. We're in the 21st century, and we still have accounts outdated from since the 20th century. By the time those accounts come, the people who would have committed illegal activity, who would have been liable for negligence of duties, etc., those persons may have died, may have gone on, so they can't even be prosecuted. We were wasting time. What we have mandated boards to do now is to get up to scratch, come up as fast as humanly possible. And again, you would have heard this exact thing before. The problem is with CAL, for example, and I'm repeating CAL has not submitted audited financials for the longest of whiles. But the Minister of Finance then continued to approve loans to CAL totaling billions of dollars without proper accounting. That is madness. That is fiscal irresponsibility. This Minister of Finance is demanding that boards get with the program and insist on accounting for the monies that they are being allocated to. It's billions of dollars, It's billions of dollars. So I expect changes now, or heads will rule. There was a Sport TT judgment just recently, which placed the emphasis on boards of directors it held the boards of directors to account for actions being taken by the boards. So they can't, not just by the boards, but by the company. So they can't hide behind, well, I'm a director of a board, so I don't have to account. That madness stops already. It's stopped. We are demanding that boards account. But the state performance monitoring manual, there's a manual that has been provided for the longest while. It's dated 2011, I believe, for the purpose of accounting or bringing state boards accounts to the fore, of holding boards accountable for the billions that they spend. That system is outdated, and we are renewing that as well. I can assure you, my friend, I sat on the Public Accounts Committee, so I can assure you that I have identified a lot of those weaknesses, and if as Minister of Finance, I can't address all. But I can focus on correcting quite a few of them. One at a time, but quite a few of them will be corrected during my term of office, however long that lasts.
Yeah. I know we're coming close to the end of the interview, Minister Tancoo. I have just two questions left. I don't know if Wendell has any other questions, but the issue of the two oversight committees, I'm calling them. You have an Economic Resilience Committee, I think, that you mentioned in the budget statement, and an oversight committee, I think, for anything over $50 million that you and the Prime Minister are going to sit on. I'm specifically interested in the Economic Resilience Committee, and is that going to be populated with advisors? Because it kind of reminds me of the Economic Advisory Board that I think the last government had And I think the economists and the people who populated it left in frustration, and it got disbanded because the advice was not taken. Is that a kind of similar mold in what you all are doing with the Economic Resilience Board or committee or whatever you call it?
But the short answer to your question is yes. The Economic Advisory Board, and previous to that was the Economic Development Board, where we had a committee set up for the purpose of identifying projects that will develop Trinidad and Tobago. That's what this oversight committee is supposed to do. Look at projects that can develop Trinidad and Tobago in the long term. If the former government had taken some, and I'm privy to some of the proposals that were under consideration, substantial development was done. That is exactly how we propose to treat with some of the projects that we have seen that have been proposed and have been brought forward by interested individuals and invested in Trinidad and Tobago. So we are looking at creating what would effectively be a fast track mechanism for persons and businesses and entities willing to invest in Trinidad and Tobago. That is what that committee will do. So you're right. It resembles the Economic Development Board. It resembles that board because it's very similar. What we are looking at a project that will add to the development of the country, whether it be short term, medium term, or long term, on a continuous basis. So yes, I hope that that facility, and I can tell you already, there are lots of projects that are already coming my way. That project is that those boards will not be housed by political activists. It will not be governed by political activists, because what we want are professionals, persons with industry experience and expertise that will come together to evaluate properly projects to carry the country forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. And my last question is, how optimistic are you as a Minister of Finance that we will surmount these fiscal challenges, and when do you hope, I guess this might be an unfair question, that Trinidadians and Tobagonians can see the country moving forward with growth that means something to their pockets?
All right, so that's a two-part question. I am extremely confident. I'm extremely is an understatement. I'm superbly confident that Trinidad and Tobago will get on board. I have seen citizens suffer. I have seen citizens reach out. I've seen citizens hope and pray that they get a government that will simply take the relevant actions to protect them and to improve their lives. We are committed to do that, and I think we have started doing it as soon as we dropped into office. I identified a multiplicity of things in the budget speech that we have done in the first 150 days already. We are going to continue to do, and that is not on our budget. That was based on the budget of the former regime. You can imagine what we're going to do with our budget. What is required is proper implementation, and that's the function of the other committee, which will monitor the proper implementation of the budget plans and programs. With regards, I forgot the second question already. How soon? How soon? Yeah. Citizens have already started to see positive results. What I expect to happen is, as we roll out, you'll see more and more confidence in the economy, and they realize that we are really serious about opening Trinidad and Tobago to business. And I believe you will see results as early, economic growth as early as fiscal 2026.
Mm-hmm. Minister, I have one thing to say. I want to challenge you to make yourself available to the media as you have done this morning, especially to the breakfast show, because it's been a long time since we've spoken to a Minister of Finance. So thank you very much.
It is my pleasure. I could not engage you, in all honesty, I could not engage you previously, because really crafting and creating a budget that is realistic is a significant challenge. And I really spent a lot of time trying to get it done. We as a government spent a lot of time in each ministry trying to get our hands wet, as it may be, to ensure that we were hands-on in our ministries, so we could see where the weaknesses are, where the strengths are. A lot of that took a lot of time. And I did not want to be in a position where I gave you commitments which I did not believe I could keep, or I make statements without proper information from my colleagues. We are mandated to deliver now. I think now we have an overall national plan that we will develop and we will see going forward. It will be tweaked as we go along, as obvious. We'll fix things and we'll address weaknesses as we identify them. But I think that I can now make it easier. It will now be much easier to account to the population. And that's a requirement that I also have as a mandate, and we as a government have as a mandate from our Prime Minister, to continuously update and account to the population for the things that we are doing. We are not afraid of criticism. We are not afraid of confrontation. We are not afraid of recommendations. In fact, I am pleased that the amount of recommendations that we would have received, every minister would have received, as to the way forward and how we can get country running again, is testimony to the fact, I believe, that Trinidad and Tobago really wants the opportunity to breathe again and are willing to contribute to making that happen. So yes, I think you will see results very quickly, but I think you can be assured that you can find me easily now. Like I said, Richard reached out to me a while ago, but I just was not in the right place, and I think now we're in a better place where you have questions you can directly ask me now. What about this? You said you were going to do this at the government. We said we were going to do the other. Now you have specific KPIs, as it were, that you could ask about.
Well, we can't thump any desks, but you could go ahead and say when UNC wins, everybody wins.
But it has been a real pleasure. And as one of our listeners have said,
thank you very much.
As one of our listeners has said, the minister has won me over today. All right. So thank you so much. And excellent first time presentation of the budget.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Stay in touch. Feel free to reach out. If I can't take the call, you can also WhatsApp me. Like I said, Richard has my contact. I respond to my WhatsApp, as you could tell.
Yes, you do.
All right. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think sometimes I was almost frustrating you because of my constant message.
God bless you, Tobago, and thank you all. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Minister. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's because we ain't talked to our Minister of Finance for so long that I kind of was a little I was
gun shy,
lightly now, but it was good speaking with Minister Tancoo. I think he was clear. I mean, I wanted to pong him about my property tax though that he had promised, and then we never get my refund on my property tax. But I said let me leave him alone.
Oh, you never got to that point.
No.
So, I was particularly concerned because, of course, in my field as a creative in the orange economy, I was a little concerned that theaters were going to were not going to be exempted from that electricity charge because, of course, they're going to pass it on to us, and naturally. They will pass it on, included and the rental cost will go up, and rental is already pretty high, and I mean creatives. Every time you do a play, and I'm pushing a play here, it's an effort to produce in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't think it's easy. I mean, we've been at it for long, so and as I always tell people, even when we spoke to young people in theater, if you don't have passion for what you do, forget it, because Trinidad and Tobago can be a hard space for creatives. So you really have to have the passion to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And the orange economy has so much to offer, not only within the space, but also from an export point of view.
Yes.
Whether it be cultural, people going out to different countries and earning export revenue, but also in the film and television sector. So,
well, hold your thoughts right there, guys. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back to wrap up.
The news you need, the clarity you deserve. Local, regional, global. This is Net Radio News Now.
This is News Now on New Era TT Radio and Guile Caribbean. I'm Derek. Finance Minister Davendranath Tancoo has announced plans to reopen the TT Hospitality and Tourism Institute in Chaguaramas. Tancoo said the institute was established to train people working in the tourism and hospitality industry, including chefs and support staff. The TTHTI closed in 2020 due to COVID-19 restrictions and the non-payment of subventions by the previous government. After operating for roughly 2 decades, the finance minister also revealed that a similar project is being developed in Tobago, with more details expected from Trade, Investment and Tourism Minister Satyakama Maharaj. The reopening is expected to boost the tourism workforce across Trinidad and Tobago. Minister in the Ministry of Energy, Ernesto Kaiser, says the government is moving to create jobs in the fence-line communities of Point Fortin and La Brea, which were hit hard by the closure of the Petrotrin refinery. He announced the launch of a community fence-line contractor program, set to begin in November 2025, aimed at re-engaging small and medium contractors in those areas. Minister Kaiser said the initiative will start with about 50 contractors per zone, but that number could increase as the program expands. He explained that the focus is on revitalizing the oil and gas industries, both upstream and downstream, to help restore economic activity in these southern communities. Crystal Ash is the new president of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, winning by a landslide in the October 14th elections. Ash, a school supervisor, secured 3,546 votes, more than triple that of outgoing President Martin Lumpkin, who received just over 1,000. Nigel Figueroa was elected second vice president with 4,395 votes, while Barry Desane captured the third vice president post with just over 4,000 votes. In other key positions, Sue Ann Marchand narrowly won the race for general secretary, and Dylan Herrick Singh was elected treasurer after defeating Gewan Durga. Ash is expected to lead TTUTA into a new chapter of advocacy for teachers across Trinidad and Tobago. Public Services Association, PSA, President Felicia Thomas has accused the opposition of lying about wage offers made to public servants. Thomas slammed claims that a 9% offer had been made under the opposition's administration, calling it a blatant lie. Speaking at a news conference Tuesday, she said documents show the actual offer was just 4% over 6 years, far less than the government's new 10% proposal announced in Monday's budget. Thomas described the new offer as a victory for workers, saying it reflects respect for public officers' contribution, especially during the pandemic. She also criticized former Finance Minister Brian Manning, telling him to sit down and stay out of public officers' business. Meanwhile, Labor Minister and former PSA President Leroy Baptiste praised the 10% offer, calling it a bold, people-centered move that rejects the previous 4% and 5% proposals. He said it shows the government's commitment to improving the standard of living for workers and their families. A 9-year-old boy and his father are recovering in hospital after both were shot during a home invasion in Maloney Gardens early this morning. Police say the incident happened around 4 a.m. when the 49-year-old father heard banging on his front door and believed it was law enforcement. Before he could open it, 2 masked gunmen forced their way in. The man ran into his son's room, but the gunmen followed and opened fire, hitting both father and son in their legs. They were taken to the Arima Hospital, where they remain in stable condition. Police are continuing investigations, but so far, a motive for the attack has not been determined. Residents of Carlson Field remain on edge after another violent crime struck the community early Tuesday morning. Around 4:20 a.m., a 36-year-old woman was attacked outside her home on Pipecon Road by 4 masked men, one of them armed. Police say the suspects forced the woman into her house, tied her up, and announced a robbery before escaping with $2,000 in cash, an iPhone 13, several pieces of gold jewelry, including wedding bands, and 4 pairs of sneakers. The men, all described as slim-built and dressed in dark clothing, fled the scene in a waiting vehicle. Internationally, US President Donald Trump says Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally assured him that India will stop buying Russian oil. Trump added that the change won't happen immediately, but is expected within a short period of time. The claim has not been confirmed by the Indian government. The Indian embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Trump has been pushing for a resolution to the war in Ukraine, which began almost 4 years ago with Russia's invasion. He has criticized Russian President Vladimir Putin as the main obstacle and plans to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday. India is the second largest buyer of Russian oil, after China. In August, Trump imposed higher tariffs on India to pressure the country to reduce its Russian oil imports. And that's news at this time.
That was news now. Stay informed with New Era TT Radio, Net Radio.
Charmflair Auto Services Limited, your one-stop auto repair shop, located at number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair, right opposite the brewery on the Eastern Main Road. Yes, we do it all. Repairs to all makes and models, from your everyday sedan to SUVs, light trucks, pickups, and panel vans. We're also the sole distributors of Davandri tires, certified VTS inspection station, plus a wide range of services: oil change, front end and suspension repairs, tune-ups, tire alignment, batteries, electrical work, radiator and cooling system, AC repairs, and accessories galore. We offer pickup and drop-off service too. Call us today at 662-6545 or 662-6572. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Charmflair Auto Services Limited, number 1 Industrial Lane, Charmflair. We do it all.
Pay $1 down on higher purchase plans at Furniture Plus. Enjoy fast approval, low interest rates, and up to 36 months financing. Retirees, self-employed, and permanent employees apply today. Buy now, pay later with Furniture Plus credit plans. Conditions apply.
S&H Rumbox, 137 Western Main Road, St. James, for all your retail and wholesale needs for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Call us at 686-0599 or visit us at 137 Western Main Road, St. James. S&H Rumbox, drinking out of the box.
The public is demanding it, so the laughter continues. Your Dolly Fowl to Watch Corn is now at Central Bank Auditorium for 2 nights only. Saturday, October 25th at 8:30 p.m. and Sunday, October 26th at 6:30 p.m. Don't miss the play that some say is the funniest of all time. Tickets available now online and at the usual outlets. And from Monday, October 20th, 12 noon to 6 p.m. daily at the Central Bank box office. Your Dolly Fowl to Watch Corn has been mashing up audiences.
Of course, you know, this is where we get to wrapping up the show for this morning. After that, I'm glad the minister took the full time to talk with us, you know.
Yeah.
So he did that.
Well, he transitioned from home to car in a seamless way. Well, we only got him on camera just for a brief moment.
They need to get a driver for the Minister, man.
Well, I always say, anytime I ever in a position like that, I drive in myself. The driver could be with me, you know, but I drive in, and when I jump out, you go and park it. But I don't want nobody drive me. But a lot of MPs now drive themselves. I noticed that. Quite a few of them have been driving themselves, you know, except for the ones under threat and so on.
But I'm happy we got him. Thank you so much, Richard, for persistence.
No, but I have to be brutally honest. I was impressed with Minister Tancoo. I was impressed with how he responded, you know, and he didn't come across arrogant at all. So I wasn't. I mean, time would tell. I mean, he gonna still get criticized if some of the things, because he is ambitious with what they want, how they want to change this society and go after that what I don't know what color economy calling it, but I mean, people say it's the black economy. That's an ambitious, and to deal with banks, that's ambitious. You understand? Because those people come together as one, you know. You understand? I don't drive down Road and see where this place is now.
But I really hope that they get the situation with the Auditor General up to scratch, because I find that is ridiculous.
That happen.
Yeah.
Them boards of different places, they always lapse. It's not easy to put together account sometimes, even a little business sometimes. It's not easy always to put together them account, and imagine they're doing it on a larger scale. You understand? It's not always easy, eh? So the Auditor General has always had a pretty tough job. You understand?
No, we have to find ways, as he said, to hold these people accountable. So whatever the chain is like, we have to hold people accountable. You have to do your work. We can't say too large and no. If we're dealing with the American economy or British economy, we'll be saying the same thing.
Well, Beauty Culture say he or she, I don't know, Beauty Culture is a male or female. So was I, Wendell, in terms of being impressed. But then you have a bias with it. I didn't have a bias with the same, but he didn't like me and I didn't like him.
But like we are like them.
It was not bias. It's not like if he wanted to reach out to me and he wanted to help and he wanted to be available. He didn't like me. And I didn't like him. Plain and simple.
No misunderstanding there.
None at all. Absolutely not.
Yes. But it was really nice. So this is where I guess we're leaving it, Richard.
Yeah. This is where we wrap up the breakfast show this morning. Of course, thank you to Minister Davendranath Tancoo, the Minister of Finance, for joining us this morning. And he's very busy and he took the time to speak to us for a while.
It's quite funny too,
Yeah, I think it's his longest interview. If he's done any interviews at all, I'm sure it wasn't as long as this one.
True.
And he accommodated all of our questions,
Yeah.
And easy to interview with, easy rapport with somebody like him. So
Yeah. I would say he didn't come across arrogant. So that alone would endear him to people once he continues in that vein and makes himself available. Right, so folks, have an absolutely wonderful day.
Yep.
And remember to let go and let God.
Of course, the weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight. Don't forget it, no theater on this weekend. We'll be on next weekend, this Saturday and Sunday, the 25th and 26th of October. That's when we'll be on at Central Bank Auditorium. It's probably going to be our last time in Port of Spain with this play. So those of you in town, you should not miss it. We are trying to negotiate parking in the Ansa McCall car park across the road from Central Bank Auditorium, but we'll see how that goes.
Good luck with that.
So we'll see how that goes.
Good luck with that.
Otherwise, you have to park on St. Vincent Street, and the earlier you are there, the better. But we're going to be trying anyway. So, it's probably going to be our last time in Port of Spain for this year, because theatre is, of course, going to wind down as we head towards December. And of course, so November, we're going to have some shows, and then I think we end in the first week in December. But I'm not sure that we're coming back into Port of Spain. I'm subject to correction. With this play, you don't leave foul to watch. Corn tickets are available online, and I believe at outlets at this point. And get your tickets early. This is such a fun play. I mean, even in the comments on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, some people saying they have to come and see it again because they had so much fun. Anyway, have a fantastic day. Remember that New Era TT Radio is on newerattradio.com and New Era TT Radio on TuneIn, so you can continue with the excellent programming throughout the day. Have a fantastic day. Whatever you do, remember, tomorrow is your day when you can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. We're just going to be listening. It's our day to keep quiet. And we'll be speaking to you. This has been
The Breakfast Show.
That's a 50% level of testosterone.
Try it again.
But that is one section of the crowd, Sir Charles, that he beat.
There is no coffee as yet.
Let's try this again. This has been The Breakfast Show. That's it. Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Wake up, it's a brand new dawn. The breakfast show got the vibes turned on.